So welcome back, Chris here with Mad Rose Woodworks. This is the final finishing and assembly of the dining room table and coffee table that I've been working on. This is my first attempt with Rubio Monocoat, and this is the walnut colored stained Rubio. It's a 3-to-1 hardening oil for those who don't know. And it's one and done, basically. It's great for a dusty shop, which I definitely have. You're not worried about getting these little pieces of dust and debris in the finish. So this is just me mixing the Rubio. I bought the 350 milliliter, I believe it is, a smaller kit. And here's the first attempt at pouring it. I was very unsure of how much finish I actually had. I had obviously the complete 2 tables to finish and only the small can. I wasn't sure how far this would go. According to the instructions, I had plenty. But in the end, turned out it was just enough. I had barely anything left. So I was being very careful with how much I was using. I should have just really dumped it on and gone to town with the spreader. So I was kind of just figuring out this process as I went along. I've watched several videos on how to apply it. And I start with the spatula spreader, the Bondo spreader, whatever you want to call this thing. And you put it down, and then you go back. You do it in small sections. And I filled in some of the edges with the scouring pad. I didn't have any of the super fine white ones, so I found some of the blue ones, the Scotch-Brite pads at Menards, and wanted to give those a shot, and they seem to work all right. I couldn't really tell you the difference between the two. And then you go back with a rag and you wipe off all the excess. You want 0 standing material, standing oil on the finish, because you will have issues. I'm assuming it'll stay tacky and won't cure properly in those areas. So you wipe off everything. You want no wet areas whatsoever. You wipe the complete finish back off, almost like a stain of sorts as far as that process goes. So I wiped off all the standing Monocoat, and then I went back and finished everything up in sections, basically 2 halves, cleaned up all the standing material, all the standing Monocoat, and then I am going to go back with a clean terry cloth towel and buff everything out. Now here's how I decided to attach my tabletop. This is just me measuring 6 inches in from each leg as far as the coffee table went. And drilling, I have an oversized Forstner bit. I believe it was a 1-inch Forstner bit. That way it gives me a little bit of play as far as the figure 8s go. So I'm just going to drill down deep enough so the figure 8s are flush, pre-drill all my holes for the mounting screws, and then I will go back and run my mounting screws into the pre-drilled holes. And that's pretty much it. And then we repeat this same process for all 4 sides, and it goes the same on all of them, both the coffee table and the dining table. And here is me just making a quick stop block. I just took a wooden dowel pin, drilled a hole with my, I don't know if this was a 5/32 bit, whatever this was, the smallest one I had on hand for my pre-drilled holes, and I set my depth using that instead of a piece of tape, so there was no chance of me going through the tabletop. And I'm just pre-drilling all my holes that I had previously marked, put down my legs and apron assembly, and then I will just run around and zip all the screws down very carefully with my impact. Don't want to take any chances at snapping the head off of these screws. Thanks again for following the whole process. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we will see you on the next one.